Hey everyone, welcome back to Transport Fever 2, and welcome back to Errors. We're watching our lovely LNER train come thundering forward past one of the Flying Scotsmen. Today we're going to be applying some prototypical leverage and just rolling stock to the network, getting rid of this mismatched set of equipment. There's a couple of small things I don't think I'll get around to fixing, things like the Flying Scotsman running actually on the slow line. I think I should leave that, but I do want to change this A1 engine into an A4 and a whole lot of other things. Between episodes, I have been doing a huge amount of detailing. I just couldn't help myself, and particularly a lot of track work got rejigged just to optimize it a little bit, and a lot more signals got added. So yeah, I'm not really going to go over that in extra excruciating detail, but we do need to finish it off a little bit, so we work on that today as well. But we might as well watch these guys come flying. Looks like the Scotsman's gonna come in first. The game is running with a mod called Deceleration, also known as Realistic Speed something. And that's actually why they're gliding into the station so slow. So I think the A1 here on the left-hand side came in like slower because it's a much longer train. It's nearly the length of the platform. And that explains why it kind of came in the way it did. So the A1's going to go forward, and it's actually full, so that's another thing we may do today. We may look at increasing some rolling stock. Hopefully, maybe even get a second express train if things are going great. And the Flying Scotsman over there on the right-hand side has turned around, does a U-turn. Eventually, what we will do is we'll take it down the route and actually turn the corner to the left, so this won't be the end of the line. And then over here, and so the astute viewer will notice that looks quite different. Yeah, I bulldozed the entire area and started again. So the bridges have been redone. I put these lovely abutments underneath them to hold them up, and I think it looks pretty good. The track work is a little bit different. One of the things I do want to change, actually, here's a freight train, which is a bit more train watching. So watch these guys pass each other. Yeah, I think the freight trains can be a little bit longer. Most of the stuff we've got on the network is running at about 220, 240 meters, but we can actually bump it to 320 because that's how long the platforms are. And from a change point of view, a lot of this was 2 tracks in, 2 tracks, and then a whole lot of switch work here. I pushed it back over here. If I show you the lines, you can see how it's a nice gliding entry. And in theory, if a train was coming around here, say it was maybe just a passenger train, it would be able to use the 2 middle lanes and steam on through. As such, if you're on the middle lanes, you can see that you actually get a warning signal, which is, the signal box there would be able to indicate that you can go flying through, and then much like this one, you can go flying through and onwards. And then for the wings, we just have warnings when you're coming in, and then same thing on the way out. Yeah, it's got those. So if I scroll out, you actually notice that this one is a signal, and these are waypoints. I did that mainly because I want this one, if you are flying forward, I want a train to kind of stop here. If you're at the station, you're going to stop anyway, but if you are flying through, I want a natural stop point before you kind of get into the network. But yeah, I think it looks pretty good. I think there's a bit of forestation to be applied. I think it's a little bit bare. The plan is, this will be next episode, is I'm actually going to sculpt this entire river down to a dock, and we're going to have a big dock unloading area. And we'll also put in another transfer place here, because I do want to make this a transfer spot for Reed. So we'll need to go down, we have to walk down the highway, make an unload center, and work out Reeds. But let's play with rolling stock first. Let's see if we can find a train. Should we start with let's start with the freight trains. The freight trains, we'll play with the engine first. Actually, we can follow along as this guy moves along. And what I want to do is change the loco. So currently the loco is a 2884, and I want to bump that up to a GNR wagon. So you can see there's a GWR on here. There is a very similar one called an O2 that Great Northern Railway ran, so that way we'll get that leverage. So let's manage that vehicle and all its friends. And as it comes in, we'll get rid of the 2882. And actually, before we do, yeah, I was going to say, let's find the horsepower. I can just do that in the menu, so I don't need to worry about it down the bottom here. So there is 4 of them. They're all being stripped out. So currently we are running, actually, I can go 2800. Yep. Currently, did I press add by accident? I didn't. Yeah, currently we're running this one. So 1400 kilowatts of power and 157 kilonewtons of tracted effort. So we want to be around there. And the speed's 121, but these ones here, these open cars are 97, so that doesn't matter too much. What we want instead is the Great Northern Railway, and there's only one to choose from. And as they get a higher in number, the later they get. If we get to a certain point, you can see the rename from the Great Northern to the London North Eastern. So let's stay with the GNR, which will make it a 3A. It is 2,000, so it was 1,400 before, and tractive's, I think, about another 40, I think. So I think this would be good from a strength point of view. So each one of those, I'm just double-clicking to do that. You don't have to use the add over there. And because there's no engine on it, it defaults to the front. So it's still going to be 243 metres. We'll check the capacities of these maybe today or later today, and maybe add some more wagons on it if the stuff isn't clearing. But we'll keep running 4. It's going to cost us $20 million, but you know, we've got 1.3 billion in the bank. So let's swap that. Look, you see that it looks a little bit bigger. And if I don't press the wrong button, we can have a bit of a look. Nice pipe work at the front there with all the copper tubes. And the great GNR logo on the side. What's the cabin look like? That's actually pretty cool. Well done. Different sound set. That's cool. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. This guy's... Actually, I didn't check the top speed. We can do that by... So if you click on the train and look at details, it's going to give the top speed based on what the entire tree is. The train is 96. So I'm pretty sure the engine's going to be 96, but we can double check that. It is Railway GNR. Yeah, 96. Yeah, those wagons, these ones, just not the box cars. I think the box cars are good for 120. These ones, these good wagons at the back here, these are only good for 97. So an engine that only runs at 96 is fine. Looks like we actually are at 96 now. So yeah, I think that horsepower has helped us get up to speed pretty fast. So that's pretty cool. So that's the good wagons done. And yeah, they were also, I think this is the one that's known as an O2, right? I think, let's double check that. I think, yes, the O2. It's a Great Northern Railway O2 variant 280. And yeah, I don't think we're not using much of this asset yet, but we'll get there. So that's the freight done. That looks awesome, doesn't it? Now this is sharing the line with the faster A1 right now. So if the express train got behind it, the passenger train, it would be slowed down. We'll just accept that. All right, so is there any train over here we can clone? Is. Talking of which, there is our A1 that we're currently running. It looks pretty cool. And then we've got all of these Colette coaches. A lot of capacity, 214. Wow, 219 out of 240. Wow, that's cool. Out of interest, if we go to the station and click on this, actually there's no passengers. Look at that, they're all queuing up. Wondering if, yeah, we may lose some people as they stream off. What happens to people who can't fit? Do we just lose them? Some passengers leave the station because they can't do it. Is that these people who are walking home? I don't know how that works. Yeah, we may need to change this station. Actually, you know what? I actually might do that right now. As much as this looks good and all, I think... Actually, I'm not even going to delete that because I think we'll cause chaos if we do. Let's do a building, and maybe we can go a traditional one. And I'm going to put that, yeah, just there, I guess, straight across the road. Yeah, and we are going to need electricity. And let's go 20 meters because I plan to put in a hut to give this configuration a bit of size. So currently it's up to 48. Let's configure this. Passengers, and we'll put on that. That brings it, these are worth 60. That's like 100. The train's got 200, so yeah, so I think we may need to really bump it up. And you know what? Since that looks kind of ugly, let's put in a passenger thing on this side. And yeah, I think that's fine the way it is. And we'll actually not configure that. We'll do this, manage the line. And then from Cornell Station, you're going to come here and you are going to have both platforms as an alternate. And then I'm going to get rid of that. And this is going to be Cornhill Station. And these people are about to go for a walk. Look at that. That's kind of cool. That is awesome, actually. Round you go. Yeah, so they'll have space to walk into there, and they'll go sit down at these terminal seats if it overflows. So you can see that here with the terminal thing. So that's worth 48, which is where most of them will go because that's the primary platform. Even as a secondary, they won't queue over there. And then we have 220 capacity in all of these things around it. So it's kind of like a little bit of an airport vibe to it. And yeah, I think that looks pretty good. I think I might configure this so these are around the other way. And will it let me? It won't. Okay, so we'll just leave that the way it was. Yeah, you can see people walking over here and using that spare capacity. And so yeah, 4750. Yeah, so as they walk in here, realize they don't fit, they then will walk out and find somewhere else to go. It'd be cool if they actually sat on the seats. That would be a cool little thing. 62. So we've got, yeah, 110 spread around everywhere. We probably could get rid of this one, or one of them. Actually, yeah, I might get rid of... No, I'll leave it, because it is 200 people on the train, so they've got nowhere else to go. It's not like they're going to walk into town over there. So we are quite remote here. And then as far as the trams are concerned, finances are pretty good. Let's give these guys a buddy. We'll get them up to 5. And, you know, I might even, for no reason, give them a lick of maintenance so that way they're not as disgustingly dirty. But yeah, hopefully that will clear out before too long. And from a cargo point of view, not much there, so that was good. All right, let's go find that train. Where are you? How long has it been? It is quite fast, so it may have got quite down the line. Where are you? Okay, we're back here. Okay, let's go this way. Have a look at this as it flies along. Yeah, so my plan here is to change these to the A4, and we'll also put on some teak carriage works on the back of it as well. So yeah, let's play with this. There's only one of these. Managed vehicle. We need to make sure we keep it 220 at least so we don't lose people. Edit. Let's get rid of that engine, and we're going to look for an A4. I think this is the one that comes with the game, I want to say. I think this is like Urban Games, and this is the mod that I've got. I think, yeah, this is... See how they've reversed them? That's because it's before like the November update in 2024. You couldn't reverse a train. So at the moment, like if I put this on, if I hold down shift, see that you get this reverse thing here? So in the game itself, it now has reversibility. And so those ones aren't really required. Let's go with... We've got Northeastern. Hell no. We've got to go blue, I think. So early, let's go late. And let's go with this one, the blue. And so from a horsepower point of view, we've gone from roughly 2,158 from, we've got this one right now, click, 500. So yeah, 500 more there, 20 something more there, so a little bit more horsepower. All right, let's have fun with the rolling stock. So we've got to get back up to 240. The platforms are 320 length, so that's fine. All right, teak. There we go. There's the teak one. They're Gresley coaches. And by the way, this all comes from the comments. I'm not an expert in how this works. I'm just doing my best to follow along with you experts telling me what I should and shouldn't change. These are all 1938. So it's just, I don't know what the rake is for these. So let's just, are they 16, 12? Okay, they do have different capacities. That might have some type of toilet in it or restroom in it or something. The FKs, so 18, 12, 16. I think I might be going for the 18. So TK or CK. So 16. T is the best so far. 18, and then these are the, okay, I guess something like this is what we want. Yeah, so 16 TK. I don't know what the I don't know what this little white thing is. Is this the door? I'm just going to add the bottom list, and 18, so that'll do. So we'll go all the way up to, well, we had 240 before, so let's get up to, well, I think the platform is 320, so let's go up to 307. We're only getting 15 more capacity here. I'm sure it's costing us money, but all right, am I going to commit to this? I guess I am. Is there anything obvious to put on the end? I don't see anything graphics wise that makes me think there's a particular one, like first class versus not, that should be there. Let's modify that and have a bit of a look-see. Ooh, look at that. That looks cool. What's the inside gear look like? Well modeled as well. Nice. So this is coming out of, where are you? So, yeah, I'm not sure where that is. Nice. Actually, this is just coming out of Ambridge. So let me get the right key. What's the keystroke for up? There we are. Yeah, so that's coming out of there. It's going to start speeding up. You can see some of the signal work I've been doing. And in theory, this guy should be thundering along the track. I didn't check its top speed. Its new top speed is going to be 145. I think the last one was doing 160. But anyway, it is what it is. Yeah, so beautiful long rake on it. Yeah, I don't know if that's actually any better, quite frankly. I think it actually might be slightly worse. But it's got a little bit more capacity, but we could have just put more coaches on the previous one. But yeah, we'll let that go. And yeah, we'll see how that does us. What else can we do? I think from a engine point of view, I think that's about it for this northern line. And we'll come back over here to Trent. So yeah, we did the cargo, and we've done the fast line. Is there anybody parked here? There is not. I did a micro amount of changing here between episodes. I think I showed all this debris hanging around. One of the things I did do was I actually moved the signal box. The signal box, I had it really up here, and the staircase was just kind of not right. So I pushed it out, and also it was up in the air a bit. So I pushed it out a bit and gave it a pad. And because of that, it kind of gave me the space to have this walking track. So I added this track here. There's a real road here. So if I do this, you can see the blue there. There's actually a little track there. That is this mod here. It is the walking tracks without houses allowed on it. So yeah, if I go over here, you can see it just generates a nice gravel surface. If I press OK, you can see it's really just an easy way of getting a little gravel path. Now you could paint it, of course. That's the other way of doing it. But yeah, I just did that, gave it a little space around the outside, and same thing the other end. It just has a walking track that lines up with our nice cow gate. And I think I shoved the traction engine down too, just to give us a little bit more style. I did futz with the tracks a micro amount. Nothing to write home about. Across the whole network, I did do a lot of signaling and a lot of the signage. I need to do a bit of that up north, so we'll do that in a sec. But yeah, I went through and made sure that every single bridge had an abutment. You can see the abutment there. Some of them came out great. Some of them, not so much. I mean, this dirt against it actually is kind of cool. And then we'll talk about power lines in a sec. Yeah, particularly down where home is, you can see that for the approach of passengers, you can see, there goes the Flying Scotsman. That looks cool. There is now a sea of points and signals being added. Some of them are signals. Basically, every signal is an inbound, and if there's too close to each other, like here, it's the diversion between two tracks, two major flows of traffic, so it's safe to bring an engine up. But yeah, I think this whole area looks pretty good. It looks a little bit more complex than it probably should be, but it actually does its job, so that's what's important. And then that design is very similar to the design over here, same deal. That whenever there's a divergence going inbound, there's always a signal telling you whether you're going left or right, and sometimes they're waypoints and sometimes they're signals, whichever one makes sense. Oh, talking of making sense, let's have a look at this. I'm seeing there's a fair bit of cargo here. In fact, are we even losing it? Look at the terminals. Yeah, 132 out of 250. For safety, I think I am going to give this a little bit more capacity. So it doesn't really matter where I put it. So I think I might put it out the back. So currently we are using these little 5-meter ones to give us a bit of space. What I might do is substitute out these fake buildings. These two ones here are fake, and I'm actually going to use these real ones that actually hold stuff. So let's configure this, and we'll delete that building, that half one, and that half one. And I'm actually going to put down a nice cargo shed. Actually, I can go sideways. Nice. You know what? That's kind of cool. Because that way we've kind of got an access road. And what's that do? That doesn't work. That's kind of a glitch. What we can do is put down some ramps. If they fit, they don't. Okay, so I think we'll just leave them going sideways. And that looks pretty good. Now, did that give us more capacity, or are these fake? No, these are real. Even though they come from that different mod, even though they come from the early cargo shed or early cargo station mod, this doesn't tell us in the medium up here in the text what size it is. So it says it's a medium, large. Actually, look at that. That's actually really cool too. Maybe I can try that again. I'm going to try putting a large there. Yeah, I like that better, I think. I like the idea of it kind of sticking out a bit more, and then there's this tiny amount of space in here. And then I will use under Rico. Are you the one with a ramp? No, it's not Rico. It is SBU. I've got a whole lot more mods installed. I have plans, but you'll see that in episodes coming up. And so let's push that into the ground a micro amount, I think. Yeah, we'll put that in the ground a bit. And this is a ramp. And so I'm going to make it, I think, there. And now we have a kind of like a ramp up there. It's probably a bit low, but that'll do. That would do. So yeah, now we have a bit more space. We have 360, so there's a bit of an overflow. We can do something about it. You can see it's 320. Let's play with this line, because I've got a feeling even if a train comes in, I say tram then, train comes in, these are only 240-esque. Why are you driving around a farm? Look, I get this game. I understand the logic, but sometimes it is frustrating. Like, I get how the logic works. I get trains are just trying to route to the next thing, which is the closest thing. But they do go a bit awry when you modify the tracks or modify some signaling sometimes. Well, that might explain why there's a bit of a backlog, because the wrong train's in the wrong spot. But regardless of that, you guys, I am going to modify them all. And let's put on some more Great Western rolling stock onto these. I think I'm going to make this really big. And yeah, I don't think I need that anymore. And we'll go all the way up every last pixel that I've got. And under wagons, cargo, let's add some stuff. Do I want any of these to be state cars? I don't think so right now. I do plan to move into stone and bricks relatively soon though, but I think we'll skip that for now. If I just say give me, for example, food, that will limit us down to what we have. Here's all these things, so I think I'll keep mixing it up. We'll put on some wagons, which is this one. We'll put 3 more on, I think, and we'll have a bigger block of box cars on each of them. And then we'll put a whole lot more. So this is up to 309, 317, there we go. So we'll finish it off with those. And it might be cool to put a brake van on these. So I think I might take off one of these each. And these are really long, longer than the screen, even with the maximized dialogue. And then let's find a Great Western Railway ale wagon. I need any. And then I need to find, actually if I type the word brake, B-R-A-K-E, there we go, brake vans. And then we need something that goes at least 97, which I think most of these will. And this is pretty big rolling stock, so we can probably choose a pretty big brake van. I think we can just do it from the date. I mean, in 1946, brake vans probably aren't even required, quite frankly. But we will add one regardless. And so if we scroll across, you can see that's there. And that one's there. And it's hard to understand what I'm doing. You know, I'm scrolling and stuff. But there we go, 317, that's on the end, that's on the end, that's on the end, and that's on. All right, $18 million. Let's find one of these bad boys. Where are you? You're the one that's fixing themselves, so I'm ignoring you for now. Here's our guy coming inbound. And looking great with our new O2. Bit more horsepower, 4,000 kilojoules, wasn't it? 2,000. It is 500 tons. Damn. That is very cool. Very cool. So hopefully that's going to clear that backlog. And it'll look good. I do like the look of this bridge. I keep on noticing this bridge and thinking, hey, why don't you change this bridge? Because this bridge, when trains go over it, this thing's nearly as high as those other ones. So I think I might change it. I think it's this one. Yeah, I think that looks way better because the other one was just a little bit too stark. Still have the same, roughly the same clearance under there. Yeah, the plan is to put a dock over here. I'm not sure what boats are going to go under there, but it's probably going to be tugs, like, you know, big things that get pushed around. So I think that's going to be okay. But yeah, I think that looks a lot better. All right, so that's the freight done. I think we've done the express. We don't need to do anything with the Flying Scotsman. It's the slow service. I know Flying Scotsman's way, there should only be 1, not 4. And also it should be on the express line, but the A4 is faster, so that's what's happening. There's a lot of people on that. That is awesome. The express train, where are you now? So that's not pressing the right button. You are coming along northbound. We probably can get a second one of these. You will note the power poles, these things. I spent forever adding them. That one's a bit droopy because it goes so low. So I literally put a post-it note on the screen. Actually, I'll show you how I did it. So as this guy goes along, let me just do it over here. So what I did is I used the Powerline mod. So just type in Powerline, all one word, and it's available on mod.io, not on Steam. And then I use, I believe it was this one. Does it look the same? Nope, that's not it. It's the wider one. It's the one with the white pole at the bottom. And then I set it to -5. And so then when I touch the track, it's not -5, it must be -4. Yeah, so you can see if I touch this right rail, actually it's 3.5. Actually, let's use this one that's away from the bridge. Yeah, it's 3.5. -3.5. And then I just moved along. -3.5 or +3.5? No, I think it's positive. So it was on the left one. Right, so then what I did is I put a post-it in the middle of the screen. So right here, picture that I actually put a post-it, right? And then I clicked here. And then with the WASD keys, I put the dialogue down here next to the bottom of it. And then I just keep the mouse a consistent distance away. So picture a post-it literally on the screen like this, and this cost sign is just below it, which means I always get the same distance. And you can see the distance I used really based on this side was about here. So the post-it's a little bit lower now, right? So wherever I put the post-it is where I put it. And then I just moved forward with WSD, lined it up again, roughly the same as I could. And the mouse didn't really move. And then I just used the post-it to help me get a constant gap. And so I did that down for about half an hour. It took forever. And yeah, that way I got a nice consistent gap between each thing. So yeah, it starts all the way over there. And I did it for ages. It takes way longer than it looks. Looks fantastic though. Very consistent. And then I did it all the way down here. I dealt with the power thing. So basically I've gone out a little bit further here manually. And then I've kind of scooched around here. I didn't do it perfectly. Got it pretty close. Up the hill around the signal. Kept on going. Very equal, very equal. It's kind of different sometimes, but it's best I can do. I think it just clipped through here nicely. Yeah, it did. And all the way around, kept on going, and it goes all the way to Reeds. So all the way over there. So that was about half an hour of work. Are you actually going to let the slow train out? Okay. Slow train. The Flying Scotsman's a slow train. So they are coming out of Trent on the River over there. And then they're going to scoot all the way across. If we come up here, we can see. You can see they come across, and they actually use the high-speed line temporarily right there, and then go all the way out. And then when its tail end crosses there, this guy, yeah, there you go, it got its clearance. You can see the signal going. And you can go back up to speed. And it'd be interesting to see if this guy at 147 can actually catch that train doing 120. I've definitely got to the point where I'm train spotting. Oh my, definitely a train spotting save game now. I just sit there and watch things go by, particularly things like these power lines behind. It's just fun to watch things move, and all those little signs that we've added and stuff. And of course the signals also help too, gives you that sense of not realism, but I suppose that's the right word for it, but it just looks more correct, having all those waypoint signals and signals on the network. Yeah, I don't know how it would look without the mod ecosystem. Just a boring set of signals, not great. I don't think this guy's going to catch up here. I think it's going to be, I think that guy's got legs on and will win. All right, there's one more I want to change, and that is the Great Western Cargo. I am starting to worry about this. Yeah, this is getting really close. Is there any inbounds? Do we need to buy another one? The problem is that there was one that was lost for a while. All right, you're coming in. Let me speed things up for a sec. And we'll see what this looks like, as in from a what's left over point of view. Because I don't want to be buying these things. These things are 20 grand. Well, not 20 grand, $20 million. Up and over. You know what? I'm actually going to undo that, and I'm going to let this guy go up there, and we're actually going to do a train spot. So let's go right there. You can see this guy come across the bridge. So normally that's the main line down there, and they're actually curved off around the hill, and we can do a bit of a train spot. Turn some graphics off. Look at that. Good speed too. Considering I had to climb and go over around a curve to get over the bridge. Awesome. That's cool. I love the birds over there in the sky too. All right, let me put some graphics back on, and we can ride this guy into the station. See all those signals flagging, like whether you're going to go left or right. Into the station. Now the question is, how much of a dent is this going to make? We may need to buy one more. I'm more inclined to buy more rolling stock and max it out, which we just did, and get things up to full platform length than I am to buy another train. I think it's more efficient. It does mean the acceleration is not there, so it is a good job that we upgraded the engine. That 2800 was great at 1500 kilonewtons, or kilowatts, but 2000 is more, so it's like, a third more. So, and we just added roughly a third of the train to this. So 315 capacity, that is a lot, and it is going to barely take a dent. What I might do, we'll let that do that, and they will head off. What's the finance like for this? Yeah, it's okay. There is a mod. Configure under, what's it called? This one, this X system. This lets you put capacity somewhere else. So what I'm going to do is put it, where's where I want extra capacity? So let's put some capacity in front of those two. And if there's more on the station than can fit, rather than it going into the building and not being seen, it'll actually pile up there. And I think we'll do it also on that side. So if it needs capacity, it will do it. Look how big that train is. That is huge. And yeah, so let's see if that actually kicks in, because we do actually have some deliveries over here. This guy is our bread train. That thing is huge. So where's it going? So 320 on that platform, and then the overspill will happen over here. There we go. Isn't that cool? Yeah, that mod is awesome. It gives you extra platform storage. I think, we'll leave that the way it is, but it's a great way of getting like an additional vibe to the stations, with a bit of animation, get it away from the platform. We probably could get rid of one of these. That's the other way of doing it, and we did that today. All right, that's cool. This thing is driving like molasses. We've kind of missed the point where it diverges and goes onto the main line. You can see my standard painting issues, where I have painted so much of the map. So we can get that stuff off the ground. Yeah, whenever we install a new railway line, there always seems to be some foliage that I've added. I did go between episodes. I went along the entire map and got rid of the any spillage. So you can see here, there's some spillage from the farm over here. So it's painted on ballast. It's probably a bit much there, but yeah, I'd rather have too much ballast than not enough, and have farms done. All right, last thing I want to do is, if I can find it, where's Great Western Railway? Great Western Railway, this one. This is busy. Actually, this is also needs to be configured. All right, so let's do MISC. This one, pull platform storage. Now let's do that. We'll put a bit more there, a bit more there, a bit more there. And we'll do... That truck's kind of in the way. And you know what? That can go there and there as well. Actually, I don't. This is a 5-meter platform. I don't think that works. So let me divide. I'm not deleting the platform. It's just deleting that sign thing I added. Yeah, it has to be a full width one for that animation to work, I think. And yeah, those cars are kind of in the way, so we'll leave them out of the way. And I think I'll put that there. Actually, no, I won't. No, I won't. But yeah, I like it when there's so much stuff hanging around. That's good. All right, this one, Great Western Railway. All right, this guy. Wrong one. That is our passenger service. We want our freight service. All right, manage the vehicles. So currently, if we go find one of these guys, they are running this 2251, which it's okay. It's just, you know, a little bit aged. So let's kind of role play that instead of those 2800s being decommissioned, these ones, locomotives. So rather than these two, this one being decommissioned and being replaced by the O2s, let's say that they actually got reassigned to this line, because these have a lot more power than the current ones. The current ones, if we shrink down that dialogue and have a look, the current ones are good for, if I do that, see 600 versus 1400. So yeah, much stronger. And then what we'll do is, I think from a length point of view, I think we may be able to put on a bit more. I want to say that the length of the platforms are a bit better. So let me put it on 315's worth. I'm pretty sure everything's 320. There we go. So that's back to 2884. And we'll watch that come in. That was good timing. That was really good timing. That was pure luck. I love that platform storage. Doesn't that make it look a little bit more realistic? Yeah, and this platform, I think, yeah, based on the look of it, is the right length. These ramps I just added, I think that really helps sell it with the putting the trucks on there. You can see it pulls it from the distant ones first, and then it pulls it from the rest. And there's a little bit left over. Nice. So hopefully that guy will be able to deal with that. It may be too much of a train. We may be pushing this a bit much. I'd rather it goes slow and pull a lot than have have too little. Well, it's kind of cool to have multiple trains flying around. And there's our paper train coming around. This lovely corner. I love this area. A bit of train watching. A bit of train spotting. Yeah, I love this bit. Especially like the cows and stuff. And also this abandoned track's kind of cool too. So if we watch along with this guy, as he comes under the bridge, around where all the cows are. Yeah, I think this area looks fantastic. I love it. All right, so it looks like I think we've upgraded our entire fleet, and I think we'll have to say that's the end of the episode. We'll recheck the whoops, sorry, that's not what I meant to do. We'll recheck the capacities, make sure that enough's being moved around. It's kind of running away now, so I think we may need more Great Western Railway ones. These ones, there's a plane too. To deliver more, we may need to get a third one of these. And we may pull off some of these boxcars because the speed is a little bit low. And if these guys start delivering more, it means that the northern run needs more, so we may need a couple more on that one with the O2s. So let's have a look at over the bridge. Gonna watch the bridge action, a bit of plane action in the background. Yeah, that should be really fun to see these newer trains running around. I've been downloading a lot of British Rail class stuff, so in preparation for the diesel age. I think we've got around episode 35. I think what I'm going to do is put a fuzzy goal out there saying episode 50 diesel age starts, and we'll start bumping stuff up. But I do want to get a fair few more industries online, and particularly I do want in this era probably bricks to be worked out, maybe not steel. I think steel maybe can be a diesel era thing, but I do want bricks, which means we need to get stone to something, and I do want that to be done on the water, not on the rails. So a little bit of shenanigans with probably some conveyor belts, some trains, some boats, a whole lot of other things to make that possible. But yeah, that'll be next time. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to shove a like on the video, especially if you got this far. And yeah, down in the comments, if you got an idea of what we should do next, particularly from an industry point of view, yell out and tell us what to do. Taking these episodes risky only about 1 day ahead of its airing, so yeah, your comments will definitely be read just before I do the recording. Don't forget to press subscribe to see more of this lovely Transport 2 Fever action. And yeah, we'll see you next time as we just make sure that the network is balanced. And oh yeah, don't forget, if you want to rage down the comments that I got the composition of trains wrong, please do, because I would actually like to have this era finished with actually kind of a correct look and feel. So yeah, the O2 change was from a comment, the A4 change was from a comment, and so yeah, please speak up, because I'm a complete novice when it comes to all of this. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next time in Errors.